So as a CEO, what are some of the learnings you can share for our users, ecosystems users as CIOs and CTOs, and some of the things they can do to engage much more effectively with the CEO and the board to get better technology investment decisions?
As a CTO or a CIO, the first thing to appreciate is the size of the sector in general. The second is the point I made, that consumer expectations change at rapid speed. And therefore, that nimbleness, that agility that the organization is going to need is going to be underpinned by the technology that they recommend and their willingness to swap it out, upgrade, make changes as challenges emerge. So that's the first point. The second one is really having a good sense of the success metrics, the way in which the CEO and potentially the CFO are looking at making investments. What are the unit economics? What are the things they try? What are the kind of levers they try to pull to drive growth, to address competitive challenges, etc. If as a CTO or a CIO or a CDO, you're across those, your recommendations need to be in line with that if you want to have an efficient process of procuring and potentially upgrading technology.
Hari, you're not new to disruption in technology or the entire digital landscape. What are some of the key trends that you're seeing out there in the market that would be of interest for our users to know?
Specifically, I'd call out artificial intelligence. As artificial intelligence comes out as a technology, it is now beginning to underpin everything. So there's a lot of sort of glory that goes to things like recommendation engines and things that are super visible, virtual assistants and such. And I do believe they will change the consumer experience. Honestly, I think they'll live in impact B2B companies in a big way. But I think what's more interesting is some of the stuff that's happening inside companies. Artificial intelligence to improve sales productivity, artificial intelligence to improve procurement practices, artificial intelligence to improve hiring practices. So I think you're finding interesting ways in which essentially machine learning is not substituting for people. Actually, this is truly a place where it's getting people to be far more effective. And so the time spent in the office is spent in a productive manner because the machine essentially points you in the right direction.
So with respect to PropTech, what are some of the areas that you see PropertyGuru playing in going forward?
If you look at our mission, it's to help people make confident property decisions through relevant content, actionable insights, and world-class service. And technology can underpin all of this, including the service. And so we are definitely thinking about ways in which we can impact property developers and property agents, because that contributes to the way in which a consumer makes a confident property decision. So I think one specific area that we are looking very actively at is around the area of financing. So let's take Malaysia. Home loan rejection rates in Malaysia have hovered around 60 to 70%. 6 out of 10 consumers who go and look for a mortgage are getting rejected. This impacts everybody in the ecosystem. So we have put out a fintech innovation which allows Malaysians to go onto PropertyGuru Malaysia and find out their home affordability, essentially get a credit rating. It's very new for that country. We worked with a credit agency, which is government accredited, but it's a technology solution on our platform, near real time and free. All of these elements are new to that market. That's just the start though, because we're now collecting data. We are trying to understand how Malaysians are using it. This will help inform us on what kind of content they now need. So for instance, if I know your affordability, we begin to understand the neighborhoods, the condominiums, the kind of properties we should be putting in front of you as a consumer, and therefore helping the sell side as well, because we are matching supply to demand that much more effectively.
How do you deal with the vendor selection process? Because if you look at what's going on today compared to where it was even 5 years ago, you don't have the large vendors driving all the opportunities. You've got so many new emerging disruptive players that have come in. So how do you go about that whole process of evaluating who to partner with when you're trying to deploy these solutions?
The consumerization of procurement has truly happened. We depend on trusted connections, trusted networks, people who have potentially used solutions of certain kinds, social proof essentially, to help us make purchasing decisions. When it comes to our market research, it's very much driven by people we know or pieces of content that we trust. So I think the traditional ways of doing market research, for instance, have definitely gone away. They're just not agile enough. They do not factor in all the elements that are necessary for a company like PropertyGuru that's trying to innovate at this speed.
Would it be useful for business leaders and technology leaders like yourselves to have access to real-time peer group data that allows you to benchmark your purchasing decisions and consume contextualized research?
Very useful, because I think right now that's what's lacking. I think for us, A lot of market research is very monolithic. It's a large expense. There's a long cycle to actually procure it, and it's static, for the lack of another term. Everything else that we use is very dynamic. Where if you think about the automation softwares we use, etc., they're all cloud-based solutions. They're all dynamic. They move quickly. They adapt. They change. Features are upgraded all the time. It's kind of strange that this part of our world would be any different.
Thanks a lot, Hari, for your very interesting perspectives. I'm going to keep picking your brains as we see future market developments as well. Thank you very much for watching this segment. I've been talking to Hari Krishnan, the CEO of PropertyGuru.